Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 18 of the NFL season, the final week of the year. It's almost playoff time. Today we're going to go over game by game the spreads. Again, another massive slate. I don't know how many games are on. It's probably like 16 games again, I'd guess.
Everyone's playing.
Yeah. So, 16 games. Corey, it looks like you gave it to him, Nick, because he's now out. He just got the COVID today, so maybe he'll join us for our DFS show. But just a recap from last week, we had Alex and we went 4-0 on our locks. Nick finally comes with his first lock of the week hit. That with Corey. They had the Chargers -6, and then Alex had the Titans, and then I had the Packers spread. All hit that. Alex and I went 11-5. Nick went 8-8, and Corey cooling off with his hot streak. He went 6-10. So
it's been the first sign of COVID.
Yeah, it was setting in as he was on the show. But now we'll go ahead and get into this final week. This week, more than others, it all comes down to, I think your biggest advantages are just finding games where you think players could be resting when the line doesn't necessarily show that, or picking games based off of incentives for players. And so we'll kind of get into that when we break down each game. But first game of the week, we have the Chiefs Saturday. We have 2 Saturday games, which is nice. We have the Chiefs going into Denver. With the Chiefs losing to the Bengals, they do have incentives to play. So now we have a spread at -10 in favor of the Chiefs. I think at DraftKings, I saw you get like a 9.5 for the Chiefs. But what do you guys think? Right. I mean, both the Chiefs obviously have incentives to play, and the Broncos would just be playing spoiler. So, I mean, both teams should theoretically be playing everyone.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if the Broncos can even put up 10 points, honestly.
That Chiefs defense is clicking, and correct me if I'm wrong, Drew Lock starting again.
Yeah,
they're both questionable. They're both questionable.
But either way, I don't think whatever quarterback they put out there is going to be able to save them. Like you were saying, like they got a lot in this. Broncos, I think, could potentially still make it. I'm not sure.
No, the Broncos
they're out. They're out. Yeah, so seems like an easy one. The Broncos can't move the ball, so
yeah,
I don't think it'll be close.
Still dealing with some COVID stuff too, but a lot of them will probably they'll get back this week. But yeah, they have nothing to play for. The Chiefs still don't, like, if the Titans somehow lose, like, they could reclaim the 1 seed. So they definitely are gonna come out
all out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Chiefs as well at -9.5. I just think they have a lot to play for, whereas the Broncos have absolutely nothing. So yeah, not much more to say about that game.
Yep, agreed.
Next game, the Saturday night game. Now, this is the first game where the Eagles have already they haven't, for sure said they're going to sit all their starters, but a bunch of them just got put on the COVID list. They're playing for literally nothing. Like they have their playoff spot secured, and whichever seed they get, it doesn't really matter that much. Whereas the Cowboys, playing Saturday, still have a chance to take the 2 seed. Like, it's between like the 2. I think they could fall anywhere between like 2 and 3, but I don't know. They want that home field advantage. So I think they're probably going to be playing their starters. I bet this earlier in the week because I thought the same thing, and I got it at 2.5, and it's now moved to 7. But honestly, I still think the Cowboys might be the right side of it.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I feel like both of these Saturday games, we're looking at, I mean, obviously the Eagles are in the playoffs.
Right.
We're looking at 2 Super Bowl contenders in the Chiefs and Cowboys who are looking to get momentum riding
Yeah.
into either,
After that loss against the Cardinals, especially.
yeah, Bill and Bengals for the Chiefs, right? Like they're
Right.
they're
Both of
both
them, yeah.
kind of in bounce back spots. So yeah, I'm gonna take the favorite in both of them. Give me the Cowboys -7.
Yeah, could you because this could be a Gardner Minshew. I mean, and if the Eagles really go all out, I mean, they could rest. Like, there's so many people on that COVID list. It's like, why would you like you're not limping in because you already clinched a spot this early, but like you have a chance to like be like the underdog, make another underdog playoff run. Like, you're not going to risk getting people hurt right now or playing people just coming off of COVID. Like, they could rest so many guys here.
Agreed.
Yeah, Cowboys need to pick up that offense a little bit. So I think they're going to be trying to kind of perfect that game plan and the script going into the playoffs here. So
It's a tough loss on Michael Gallup, man. Hell of a catch, but that
That's
was
very tough. That
bad.
he was just that extra piece the Cowboys had that, not enough of the defense was, riding Amari or Lamb. Like, they had to account for him as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough to lose someone this late.
Yeah. We'll talk about this tomorrow on DFS, but I mean, obviously target share goes up for guys like CD, Amari, and Dalton Schultz. So
I love honestly, I love 2-game slates. We'll get into that in DFS tomorrow, but that should be a pretty interesting one, game theory wise. But next game we have, the early game on Sunday. The early games. The first one's Packers going into Detroit. The line is at -2.5 because so that obviously shows that they think the Packers are going to rest a lot of the starters because they already have the number 1 seed secured, right?
Right.
But let me go through some contract incentives for Aaron Rodgers. He has a lot. Like, he needs to be in the top 3 in total touchdown passes to earn 100,000, and he could. He would have to find the box a couple times to have a chance there. Needs to be top 3 in yards per attempt to earn 100,000. He's currently 6th, but right behind Matthew Stafford. It would be close, but it's still a possibility. It says he needs to be top 3 in completion percentage, which he's 4th, and it's very attainable in this game. And those were the main ones that I had saw, the coach said that they plan on playing their starters.
Did LaFleur say that?
Yeah,
he did. Because I know Aaron has been saying he wants to play all week.
And you have MVP, Rodgers is the heavy favorite right now, but if he sits and Brady goes out there and throws for, which we'll get into that game, Brady has a ton of incentives this game in his game as well. They're not going to rest their starters. They're still playing for a higher seed with Dallas. You don't think Rodgers is going to want to go in here and just kind of lock that up? I don't know. I think there's still value getting the Packers at -2.5 against the Lions.
I also think that Packers defense, I mean, granted they're playing Sean Mannion, but
like, even if he didn't play, like, they could cover this.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the flip side, I mean, playing a little devil's advocate here, if the Rodgers situation goes south for Green Bay and he leaves, this is their last chance that they're going to get a look at Jordan Love. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what they do. But even so, I think 2.5 is, I'll take Jordan Love winning 2.5 over Mannion. So to me, that feels like the safe bet of the week for me, and put that as my lock.
That's going to be your lock. Okay. I mean, yeah, I completely understand. It was in contention. I still have to go through the rest of the games to go down, but that's definitely in contention for one of my locks. I think it's just,
I mean, I honestly think if they just, even if they put Jordan Love out there and handed the ball to like AJ Dillon and whoever their 3rd string running back is with their defense against the Lions, I think even without Rodgers playing, which I mean, seems like signs are pointing towards that, at least maybe a half. If you like,
even if you get a half out of Rodgers, I think that 2.5 is,
it's a field goal against the Lions. Like,
yeah.
it makes me nervous because like, well, one actually, if it's announced that they're gonna like for sure play like nearing game time, that line's obviously gonna move like past the field goal. So getting 2.5 is really nice right now,
Yeah.
but
It
the
opened at
public would be
11.
all over it. That's for sure.
Yeah, that line opened at 11 before
Yeah.
that 1 seed. So like
Yep.
amount,
That just shows you right there what it actually would be if you knew they were playing the full game.
right.
So
Sounds like we're in agreement on the first 3 here.
yeah,
Mhm.
so far so good. Next game we have the Bears going to play the Vikings. Neither team is playing for anything. Like, is it going to be Mannion again for the Vikings, or is Kirk coming back?
I would assume with the new protocols, Kirk will
Kirk.
be back.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one's kind of tough, but both teams are playing for nothing. Vikings are at home. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm going to ride my Bears in week 18. It's the last week I'm going to be able to bet on them this season. They looked really good against obviously a really bad Giants team, but like defense is flying around, playing still with like some energy and fire in them. And David Montgomery is a dog. So assuming that Justin Fields sits again, and they don't risk him getting injured anymore. He's got like an ankle and ribs now, I think. So like 2 things that could go from minor things into major things if they really pushed it, which there's no reason to, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, I take Bears and the plus points on the road. I don't know that I'm going to make it my lock yet, but I kind of want to, because it's just going to be the last time I'm going to be able to bet on the home team here. But we'll come back to that. We'll see if something else sticks out. But yeah, Bears plus 2.5 for sure here.
I think this actually might be a good game because both coaches are playing for their futures in the NFL. So this is going to be the last.
I
way
think
that
they
they're
already
kind of
decided Nagy's gone.
Yeah,
But he's
I think
elsewhere.
Nagy and Zimmer are both probably gone.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of like their last chance to show their potential future teams that they're good enough for at least a coordinator position somewhere. I think that's probably it. Maybe Zimmer could get.
But which one do you think
go down to
comes out?
Jacksonville? But I think I like the Vikings here. I'm just going to take the home team within a field goal. So I think best player on the field is Dalvin Cook. So I kind of like that, as good as that Bears defense is playing.
I think there's some value on the Vikings here, just because I think this line is still hesitant based off of whether Kirk Cousins or Mannion plays. And I think Kirk Cousins will also be back, in which case I think this line would be a field goal or higher. So for that reason, I'm going to be on the Vikings at home in their final game here. The Vikings have played like tough against some of the top caliber teams. And so like, I don't know, at home against the Bears, I just give me less.
Yeah, they were almost a playoff team there for a minute. I mean,
yeah,
they were definitely in the hunt. I think they got a pretty solid
they
offense.
lost the more close games than I think any team, or they were in the most close games and probably lost the most close games more than any team in the league.
I feel like
I think Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook are just that good.
Yeah. I feel like that happened to them last year too, and they won. They won.
They were, it was like the right side of variance. And
Yeah.
Now it happens. But next game we have the Colts going into Jacksonville. Right here we know the Colts, they actually don't there's a way they can make the playoffs if they lost here, but they're trying to win this game, obviously, to just cement themselves into the playoffs.
Win an end for them.
Yeah, and a little stat: the Colts have not beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville since 2004. But this is a different year. That stat probably doesn't mean too much. It's just a fun one. Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think here?
A lot of points, 15.5.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot for
Over
a team
2
that
touchdowns.
divisional game trying to play a spoiler here.
Yeah, I mean, and they're playing away. I do think the Colts are going to win this game. Kind of a no-brainer, honestly. Like I can't imagine Trevor Lawrence blowing up and knocking them out of the playoffs here. That would be a complete shock, I think. But 15.5 is pretty close. But we kind of saw what happened last week against a good Patriots team. It was 50-10. So
The Jaguars
Yeah.
have also surprised some teams though too.
yeah, I just don't see them having any sort of momentum or anything to build on. No James Robinson again. Like I think that team just they're just gonna get crushed. So I'm gonna lay the 15.5 points here and go with the Colts.
Yeah, I think this. No, there's one more that's higher. Bills Jets, but second highest spread on the slate. I agree. I don't think this is even a question on whether the Colts win this or not. They got too much on the line, and they're too good of a team with too good of coaching to blow this one, in my opinion. 15.5 is a lot, but I do think that's a lot of points. Trevor Lawrence just doesn't look like a guy. Like like I know
It's
he's not
rich and
surrounded
bad.
by anything. I know he's not surrounded by much, and his coaching, obviously. But man, he like even if that, like you'd like to see a couple good games out of this guy, and I feel like we haven't really gotten that.
Or like even good drives. I mean,
Yeah, like no highlights out of there. Not like
No.
a single highlight, not a deep bomb or anything all year.
I mean, doesn't he have like one touchdown in like his last like 8 games or something?
Yeah, it's like 8 games or something bad. It's
It's
so
so
bad. Colts defense playing pretty well. I'm gonna lay the points. Colts 15 minus 15.5.
yeah, their defense is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on the home team here. Divisional game, second time they play. Typically those are lower scoring games. I can see both games trying to run the ball the whole game. It could be a really fast game, in which case there's a lot of opportunity for the Jags to at least cover 15.5. But yeah, I mean the Colts should win this game. I think the only statistical incentive or milestone I saw from this game was Taylor, who needs 266 rushing yards for 2,000 yards. But it could happen, but just very doubtful.
That's so crazy to think about how good of a year he's had, and think about guys rushing for 2K in one less game. Like guys have done it, right?
That's what
Like Eric
yeah,
Henry
yeah.
did last
He
year.
still didn't even win MVP.
That's crazy. That's just crazy to think about that stat.
Yeah. McCaffrey did it also, right? Yeah, and he
Yeah,
did not.
he might have had combined yards, honestly.
Yeah, his was, but I think Taylor's is too. I don't think he's going for 2,000 rushing yards, is he?
Derrick Henry has
Actually, I
done
didn't
that.
see Maybe.
I think it's rushing. I'm pretty sure it's
That would be
rushing.
wild if it was just rushing.
Mhm.
All right. Next game. If Corey was on here, that's his Colts. We already know he'd be taking the 15.5 with the Colts. Next game, we have the Titans going into Houston. The Titans, this is an interesting one because if the Chiefs lost to the Broncos, the Titans could rest everybody and they would already have the number 1 seed secured, I think. Actually, no, the Bengals. Actually, no, they do have incentive to play because the Bengals, if they lost, I think the number 1 seed would be up between a bunch of teams. So I think the Titans do still have incentive to play this one against the Texans.
Yeah.
It's 10.5. It looks like right now. I don't know. This is another interesting one where the Texans are just playing spoiler in a divisional game. That teams love to do that. But I mean, most of the motivation lies with the Titans.
Yeah, I think obviously on top of the securing the 1 seed and the bye, getting that bye and getting Derrick Henry back for their first playoff game is
He's
good.
practicing right
Is he
now.
Yeah.
practicing?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll play him, but
Yeah,
No.
I don't think they will. There's
No.
no way.
No, maybe if they're playing a better team, maybe,
Right.
but I think that their drive to get that bye, to get Derrick Henry an extra week of getting back and practicing and getting back in game shape is going to lead to them blowing the doors off of the Texans. We saw what they did to arguably a much better Dolphins team last week. Just as banged up as they have been all year. That defense is kind of coming together a little bit. So I like the Titans here, -10.5.
Nick?
yeah, I mean, I don't think lightning strikes twice because they beat him earlier in the year. The Texans beat him earlier in the year, right? I think they picked off Tannehill like 4 times.
Yeah, it was a bad.
I'm just gonna keep riding it. Say that they got Tannehill's number. They slow the run game down a little bit, and they keep it close for the last game of the year. Kind of keep it respectable against a division opponent. They kind of put it together at the end of the year here. Last week it was really hard to watch Rex Burkhead try and win a game over that San Fran defense, but I don't know. Let's see what they do against a divisional opponent here. I'll take the Texans.
Yeah, I'm also gonna be on the Texans. I like being able to get these divisional games where you're getting double-digit points the second time they play, which is, as I've said many times, when games typically are lower scoring the second time divisional opponents meet. So yeah, for that reason, I'll take double-digit points. The Texans, I don't know. I think the Titans, if they're like winning handedly, could like then rest some starters, and then the Texans just get like a backdoor cover or something like that. But a couple incentives that are in this game would be Rex Burkhead needs 30% of the offensive snaps to earn 125,000. He should get that. And then he would need 103 total yards to earn another 125,000. So honestly, we're doing a spread show, but I'm going to go, like, as we talk about the player incentives in each game, I think it's a great week to bet player props. We'll get into other ones, especially in the Bucks game, with players that get a certain amount of receptions or yards and they meet it. A lot of times teams will like force that. So yeah, that's just a small one. Maybe you take a Rex Burkhead prop. But next game we have.
That's your first prop bet of 2022. Rex Burkhead yards.
I mean, 103 total yards and he catches the ball. I mean, if they just force feed him, he's played well recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's a couple others I like more. Next game we have Washington football team going to play the Giants. Is it Washington football team -6.5 right now?
Yep. On FanDuel.
Okay. That's what do you guys think here? That's quite an interesting line.
The Giants looked really bad.
Yeah, they
bad, dude.
So bad. This will be the last game that Washington football team ever plays and takes the field.
Yep.
Name announcement coming out February 2nd. Buckle up. It's going to be a funny one.
Like the day before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they got to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only action they're going to get in February for the next decade, so might as well. But I think because the Giants couldn't even put up, did they put up 7 points? I think they only scored 3, right?
The Giants are
yeah, the Giants.
3
points total. Yeah. Yeah, even if it's 6.5, I think Washington football team can score 14 points. So until further notice, it looks like the Giants aren't scoring again this year. So go with Washington football team and the name legacy on a high note.
Yeah, under a touchdown is a no-brainer for me with Washington football team. I think Heineke is playing for potentially his next contract and or next team.
And another incentive, he needs a win and 60% of the snaps to earn 125,000, and his base salary is just $1 million. So that actually is quite a lot to him.
Yeah. So on top
10%
of
bonus.
on top of the Giants being probably on the Jaguars level right now, of worst team in the league. Give me the football team -6.5.
Yeah, I'll be on the Washington football team. If I didn't know about this incentive, I actually would have been inclined to take the Giants just because, it's a divisional game and they're at home and 6.5 points. But I think the Washington football team, could show up here and support Heineke, needing this win, coming in there and barely getting paid anything and put up I mean, he's looked bad at times, but he puts up some respectable games sometimes, and I think they go and support him. So I'll take at less than a touchdown. I'll take the Washington football team. Next game, we have the Steelers going to play the Ravens. Both teams technically can make the playoffs with a Colts loss. I mean, what do you guys think here?
I like the Steelers with points here, purely because I think Tomlin's a great coach. It'll be close. It's like Big Ben's last run. And I don't think the Ravens are playing that great where they deserve this many points, honestly. I think that's what it comes down to. Even if Lamar is back, we saw what that Pittsburgh defense can do. He's going to be on the move, so his ankle better be 100% if he's in there. So I think this will be a close game. So I like the Steelers, and I think they'd probably actually win. As a little upset alert here.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Nick. I think the Steelers money line's a good play here. TJ Watt having a chance to break the all-time sacks, or not all-time, but sacks in a season record on 13.
Only one away.
On only 13 full games is mind-blowing what he's doing. And he just absolutely ate last night. If he wasn't sacking Baker Mayfield, he was swatting the ball down. Like every time Baker threw to that side of the field, it was just non-existent.
Yeah. When I watch him, I actually think he's significantly better than Myles Garrett.
Really?
Yeah. Like he's so fast. Maybe one of the fastest edge rushers I've ever seen.
That's high
like,
praise.
Yeah, he just does one move and he's in the backfield, and it's just, Myles is more of a power guy, and he certainly is very good at that, but his moves are just unreal. He's always in the right place at the right time. He can drop back. And
who's your right tackle? Because my gosh, he was getting a beat.
Oh yeah.
How do they not give that guy help?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Throw a tight end over there, throw D'Ernest Johnson to throw a chip block or something. They were just exposing the guy all night.
It was like every play it was just that Hudson or whatever lined up.
James Hudson, yeah. He was like a 5th round pick out of Cincinnati. He's not a NFL caliber ready yet. I'll say that. He couldn't even hold his own. 9 sacks last night. I think like 7 of them went through him. So wasn't good. Baker's done for the year, but
yeah, that's probably
Steelers, Steve,
for everyone.
I like them all.
But yeah, agreed. Steelers +5.5 here. These AFC North games are always close. They're always low scoring, hard fought games. So a little bit more than a field goal here feels right with the Steelers.
This is probably the toughest game out of the whole slate for me. Just betting, like picking a side. I don't think Lamar plays probably just because this game really. I mean, the odds they make the playoffs are so low anyway, and it's tough because the Steelers. Yeah, it was Big Ben's last home game last week, and now it's his last game. So they still technically could make the playoffs, and Watt's going for the sack record. So like they could still be pretty riled up and like ready to go in this last game. But it did really feel like it was like their Super Bowl last week,
Oh,
just
100%.
Ben off. And usually that's a bad spot the following week, then going into Baltimore. So it's like this game, I don't even know what to do. And I do think the Steelers are still a terrible, terrible team. Oh man, but the Ravens are pretty bad right now without everyone. So I guess I'll take the points at 5.5 with the Steelers. But yeah, this is like a complete avoid for me.
I feel like it's going to be a traditional sloppy AFC North game. Like,
Yeah, I
like-
think we could bet on it being a close game. So I think points are kind of the smart play here.
yeah.
But it is also like a game I could totally see. Like, you know,
Yeah.
everyone last week, it felt like the Steelers' last game was last week, and everyone was like, "Oh, they sent Big Ben off on this high note," and then he goes into Baltimore and throws like 4 picks, and it's just like that's how he ends up going out.
His stat line from last night is
Like 40, like 50 attempts for like 120 yards.
It's so bad. This bet is purely on the Steelers defense and the way they looked against the Browns, and the Ravens offense, I don't think being like a ton better than the Browns offense. Like, even if Lamar plays, he's not fully healthy, and that D line and TJ Watt are going to give him problems if he's not running around like he normally does. So
My favorite meme came out of this game, and it was, you know, the Mahomes Tyreek, like F it, Tyreek's down there somewhere, or Jamar Chase and Burrow.
Yeah.
With Big Ben, it was F it, Ray's out there somewhere, and it's on a 3-yard out route. Like, that's
so bad.
Oh, that was too good. But next game, we have the Bengals going into the Browns. The Bengals would have something to play for if like the Chiefs lost Saturday. So that could really determine what, if you think the Chiefs beat the Broncos, then there's a good chance the Bengals could like rest a lot of the guys. I forget the seeding though, because they're obviously either like a 2, 3, or 4, but technically they get the 1 if the Chiefs lost. But no, I think the Titans would have to lose as well. So the Bengals are like, there's a good chance they could rest their starters at halftime. And Burrow could honestly use it. Like, they're another team where it's like they got in, they won the division. You know, Burrow like had a little scare there at the end of last game that could like incentivize him to maybe sit them whenever they can. So I don't know. What do you guys?
I mean, one guarantee, we know Baker's out. They're going to shut him down. He's going to go get that arm fixed.
Well, the line already moved. It was Browns.
Yeah.
It was Browns minus 2.5. Now it's Bengals minus 3.
Yeah.
It looks like, I just Googled it. It looks like the Bengals can fall to anywhere from 1 through 4. So there's
exactly. That's what I was saying. Like they for sure locked in their division, so it's 1 to 4. But if the Chiefs and Titans would have to lose, and they could get the 1 seed.
Right.
Yeah.
But the odds that you imagine parlaying the Broncos and the Texans, like they're not going to get
Browns.
But
the Browns are kind of like already shutting it down. Like we saw, they didn't even play Kareem Hunt.
That was it.
He could have played. Chubb played half a game. Like I think the Browns are kind of just packing it in.
Yeah.
And even if Burrow plays 1 half, I don't think.
I mean, I honestly, they're going to stay the 4 seed. Like, that's realistic. What's happening?
Yeah, but I think they're going to stay out there.
Yeah. Let me see if
there's, even though it's a home game for the Browns, I don't see them covering.
That was a pretty poor showing last night or 2 nights ago for the Browns, and that really did look like they had just packed it in and given up on the season. I mean, the fact, like, even if you watch the Manning cast, Peyton Manning, like, can someone get me an injury update on Nick Chubb or tell me why he's not on the field?
They did actually say he got banged up, but I mean that in any other big game he'd be out there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'll go Bengals -3 here on the road. I think that if I had to guess right now, I still think that the starters play at least a half, and maybe take a lead into the second half and sit some guys after that. But yeah, Bengals -3 here after a great win against the Chiefs. That game was awesome.
I actually I'm just gonna go with the Browns +3 at home. I think one, I don't think I think Keenum's an upgrade to Baker. So and the line literally switched off of that news. So I don't know why that happened. And so if I think the Bengals have a pretty solid chance of like maybe playing only one half, Jamar Chase needs 45 yards to set the rookie record. Think he'll get that. But then like I don't know. I just see them playing it safe and the Browns just getting like a possibly a win here, or at least covering 3.
I
So
would not want to see the Bengals in the playoffs, man. Some of those throws from Joey B to Jamar were just like
It's-
that's Aaron and
it's
Devontae
it's gonna
level
be
stuff.
the Chargers or Raiders most likely.
Chargers would be a good matchup.
It'll be the winner of that game, right? The Chargers Raiders Sunday night.
Yeah, most likely. There's like some scenarios, right, that we're talking about already where they bounce different seeds, but if they stay at the 4, which is what it is looking like,
There's a hilarious scenario, which if the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Ravens and the Colts lost, if the only way that both the Raiders and Chargers get in is if they tied.
yeah,
So, but if one of them beat the other one, then one of them's out and the other one's in. But they could just be like, all right, well, we don't want to risk that. We'll both just get in there, and they could just kneel
Kneel
down.
the game out.
that would be hysterical. I mean, it won't happen, but that would be hilarious.
I know it would be pretty wild, but yeah, it's looking like it's set up to be like a Bengals versus Chargers or Raiders
Should be
first
fun.
round.
Should be fun. All right.
All right, now we're getting to the later half of the games. We have Patriots going into Miami to play the Dolphins. The Patriots have a lot because I mean it's between them and the Bills for that.
Yeah, they still got to win.
They're highly incentivized.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
division's still up for grabs.
And the Dolphins, you know, I think the Dolphins are definitely playing pretty angry here. They just, you know, they had this big win streak and now that they're trying to play spoiler, but like I could see the Dolphins like really still trying to play hard this game.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's tough. This one's a tough one.
Yeah. The Dolphins are definitely, in my opinion, definitely going to play all out. This is their Super Bowl division game. You know, what's their coach's name again?
Brian
Flores.
Flores.
Yeah, he's an ex-Belichick guy, so he knows he's going to give them his all, like every time they play. But that Patriots team is rolling, man. That run game gets going, and there's just no stopping them. Feels like the league last year and the year prior with like the Chiefs and the Bucks and all these air raid teams, or like it seemed like the league was going all air raid, and you're seeing these teams get back to like ground and pound, hard nosed defense and doing really well at it. And I think clearly the Pats are one of those ground and pound teams, and very clearly outmatching the Dolphins here. So even though they're going on the road and it's a touchdown difference, I'm going to go Pats -7.
Yeah, I think this line might be a little inflated just because of the extreme outcomes of last week. I do think the
I think
Patriots,
actually I remember
what I mean?
seeing it, look ahead line at like 3 or something like.
yeah, it was -2.5 Patriots is what it
That's
opened at.
pretty drastic.
Um,
But the Dolphins also, if they would have won, I think they could have still technically had a playoff shot this week, whereas now they're out.
yeah. I think it'll just be closer than 7 points, honestly. I mean, the Patriots can beat the brakes off teams if they want to. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here, +7.
Yeah, the Patriots have also struggled. I feel like the Dolphins have been like their kryptonite. It feels like
Tough games. You're right.
yeah,
every year.
and the Dolphins, I think, are still like a pretty solid team. And I think at a +7 at home in Miami, I got to take the Dolphins. I've been on them for a lot of the year, and I'll end the year with them as well, especially in a low total of 40 points. I'll go ahead and take the touchdown. Next game, we have the Jets going into the Bills. Bills very motivated, should play the starters pretty much the whole game here. We'll start off with Alex here. What do you think?
Yeah, the Bills have consistently beat the brakes off of bad teams this year. I know that they lost to the Texans maybe earlier on when they were kind of going through their rut, but it seems like they've found their stride again. 16.5 is a lot, and Zach Wilson has actually not been bad the last couple of weeks. Obviously gave the Bucks.
Barrios.
Yeah, that was a great call.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah. But I think with how much the Bills have to play for at home in Buffalo, I just think this was a bad spot for the Jets. Basically coming off of what felt like their Super Bowl last week, like we were talking about with a couple of other teams. I mean, they almost beat the Bucks. That was like obviously vintage and always Tom Brady, but like the ease at which he ran that 2-minute drill was just like, he just went in there and he's like, yeah, guys, we're going to win. I don't care who's out here with me. Like AB is making a scene in the third quarter. Doesn't matter. We're going to win this. And I think the Bills at home, you could give me 3 touchdowns on this and I'd probably still take it.
What do you think here, Nick?
I'll take I don't know. You got to go. I'm still thinking about it.
I like the Bills too here. They're a team where I'm fine laying large numbers because they like when they've beaten teams, they've done it by like just absolute blowout fashion. They didn't do it to like they didn't cover. They actually was like half a point short to the Falcons, and that was with Allen throwing for 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. No, he ran for a couple, but I mean, now they get to play the Jets. I just don't see like they're trying to win the division here. Like they should just roll the Jets. I think, the Jets are horrible against the run. Seems like the Bills have established their main running back in Singletary, but Josh Allen still runs the ball like crazy. Yeah, some contract incentives. We have Stephon Diggs needs. Oh, well, he needs 6 receptions to earn $1.5 million. So that's a pretty big one. That's a player prop that I like a lot. So if you can get his reception at a reasonable number, and then 231 receiving yards to earn 101.5. Now that's probably not happening, but you could probably expect him to get at least 7 receptions here. And I don't think he should have any issue doing that against the Jets.
What do you think, Nick?
I'm going to go with the points here. I know Tampa Bay was beat up, but the Jets just looked okay. Like they looked pretty good for being the Jets. So I don't know. Maybe we get a somewhat close one.
A lot of points.
Yeah.
All right. Next game we have the Panthers and Bucks. Now this is the game probably with the most incentives that I've seen. And this makes me like the fact that the line went from Bucks -16 to -8. Yeah. That would imply that they think that the Bucks, well, I don't really know, because if they thought they were going to rest all their starters, it would seem like it would be close to 8. It would be at like that Packers line, like could be like 2.5, but it's weird that it went from 16 to 8, because it's like, who's the backup QB to Brady? Isn't it like Blaine Gabbert?
Yeah.
And then if right. Evans sat, it would be like Blaine Gabbert or Cyril Grayson and Scotty. Like the Panthers would win the game. Yeah. But it's weird that it went to 8, but it just makes me like it because the Bucks are going to be playing their starters. Here's some contract incentives. Tom Brady needs to be top 5 in passer rating to earn $600,000. He's currently 8th, but his pass rating is 100.8. Kirk Cousins is 101.3, and he could pass that just in one game. He needs to be top 5 in completion percentage or yards per attempt to earn another $600,000, and he would need a monster effort to hit that benchmark. Then you have Rob Gronkowski, needs 7 receptions to earn $500,000. Probably going to get that. I mean, Brady could easily.
He loves Gronk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he loves Gronk
He's gonna know these incentives going into the game.
100%.
He's gonna know Gronk. Obviously, he's gonna know his. He's gonna know Gronk's. If Evans
And
is
he
close
needs
to anything,
it's 7 receptions. He needs 500,000 and 85 yards. If Gronk gets 85 yards, he gets another 500,000 and 3 touchdowns to earn another 500,000. I don't think he gets 3, but you could totally see Brady force feeding Gronk. And Gronk could.
crazier things have happened.
He could hit all
Right.
3 of those.
So if he went 7 for 85 and 3, I mean, we'll talk about DFS tomorrow, but I mean, if people are just, I mean, the Panthers have been really good against tight ends, but if Brady without AB now, like just goes out there and gives him like 15 to 20 targets, you have to think he hits some of these incentives. And if he's going to be playing the whole game, I mean, the line to go from -16 to -8. I mean,
It's just weird movement.
I would just rather still take the -8. It just doesn't seem right. If the
Yeah.
starters are going to play, it would probably still be at that -16.
Yeah, Bruce Arians. I just looked it up. Bruce Arians said starters are playing. We're playing to win.
Yeah, there you go. And they
but-
still have, seating implications with the Cowboys.
Yeah. So
Seems like a gift.
no reason to go and overthink it. Bucks -8. Give me this as the lock of the week. Like that's for everything that we're saying right there. And then like you add the AB drama on top of it, and like everyone in the Bucks camp has been like, we hope that he gets the help that he needs if he needs the help. I think Brady's gonna, basically be like, look, this is still my team. Like
Refocus.
Refocus, forget about that. Like it's
Yeah.
over. He's not a part of the team anymore. Like we're still the reigning Super Bowl champions. So Bucks
Yeah.
-8, lock it in.
It would take a lot for me to bet against Tom here in January. He's pretty electric at the beginning of the year. So I'm going with the Bucks as well.
Yeah, I've all year, I've on these shows, I've been fading Brady, and honestly, for the most of the year, like it's been the winning side if you faded Brady on the spread side of things, and I'm on the Buck side this week because I think the line is just wrong here based off of them actually playing here. So yeah, I normally would be like, if this was still 16, I would be on the Panthers side, but at 8, I'm on the Bucks. So yeah, I'll go. This would have been my lock of the week, but I have this next game that it's my lock. I know it's my team, but I just don't see how they don't cover this. So the next game, we'll go ahead and talk about it. We have the Saints going into Atlanta to play the Falcons. Saints are getting healthy. They're getting pretty much everyone back. They've dealt with COVID stuff like all year, injuries all year. And now it's looking like, right at the end, a few things do need to break their way. The 49ers Rams game will be happening simultaneously. So the only thing that gets me nervous in this game is if the 49ers just opened up and they're just blowing out the Rams. I could see that really deflating the Saints because they need the Rams to win. But honestly, I think the Rams win, or at least it's close, and the Saints should be playing this hard.
Well, they're going to have that game going on at the same time. So
right, but I'm
they're
saying
probably going to say like, don't look like.
Oh, you're right.
They don't have their phones out there. They're not going to talk about it. They're going to be locked in, ready.
That's true. But that's the point. I think
maybe second half, but
yeah, I think
you're just plain pissed off because you just got the news you're out.
Yeah, I think the Saints are going to be playing very hard, and they lost to the Falcons on that after they were winning in that long Cordero Patterson catch to put them to win the game with a field goal. That was terrible, but I think the Saints should win this. I don't really see anyone in the foul. I don't see them being able to move the ball much, as most teams haven't been able to recently against the Saints.
Yeah. When the Saints defense wants to turn on, they're pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that they had their first touchdown in 3 weeks, the Saints offense, and the Saints are 2-1 in the last 3 games. So that tells you all you need to know about that defense. Falcons aren't going to be able to do much here. I think it's an ugly win, but I think it's by at least a touchdown. So I'll follow you guys here. Saints -4.5.
Yeah, that's my lock of the week. So next game we have the Seahawks going into the Cardinals. The Cardinals will be playing hard as it's between them and the Rams for that number 1 seed in the division. The Cardinals came out they're still good. I had them against the Cowboys last week. It was just like a prime buy low, sell high spot. And I think they're getting it right here towards the end of the year, going into their playoff run. I think could be a deadly team in the playoffs. So I'll go first here. I guess I'm going to be on the Cardinals -6.5. I know the Seahawks have been showing up recently, but at home here, I'm going to go ahead and take less than a touchdown with Kyler and the Cardinals.
Yeah, my only concern, I want to bet that side too, but the only thing is it's going to be Russ's last game as a Seahawk.
But we saw his last game.
If this was in Seattle, I would be more inclined.
Yeah.
He dropped a 50 burger last game as his last home game in Seattle.
Yeah. That again, just like with the Big Ben thing, which I had me worry about, that almost felt like it wasn't as much because the Russ situation is still more unknown, but yeah, that kind of felt like,
that was almost like a middle finger on the way out the door type of thing. Like, look at what you're going to be missing is what it felt like.
Yeah.
Whereas like Big Ben was like, thank you for your time,
Right.
7 type of stuff. So
yeah, Kyler's hard to bet against right now. So I guess I'll go Cardinals winning by more than a touchdown.
yeah, these last 3 games we're covering, I think, are going to be the 3 games of the week here, just with the amount that's on the line. Obviously, there's stuff on the line for a lot of these games, but if the Cardinals lose this and the Rams win against the 49ers, like how far do the Cards drop? Do they drop down to the 6?
the lowest they can be is 5, I think. Because the 6 and 7 seed. So the 6 is it's the Eagles, 49ers, and Saints for those last 2 spots, and neither of them can jump the Cardinals. So it's either the Cardinals are like 2. The Cardinals are like either 2. No, 3.
Yeah, but the Saints are the only one not locked in, right? Like the Eagles are pretty much locked in.
No, Eagles are locked in. It's the last spot is 49ers or Saints. If the 49ers win, it's the 49ers. If they lose, it's going to be the Saints as long as the Saints win.
Yeah, so they're just Googling here, anywhere from the 2 to the 5.
Yeah, 2 to the 5.
And if they drop to the 5, there's a chance that they play the Rams, which I don't think they want to do in the first round. Whereas if they win and they get up to the 2,
they get to play the 49ers, Saints, or Eagles.
Yeah. So, I think they had that little lull in the season. Seems
they're
like
back.
Yeah.
Even without Hopkins.
Yeah. And they'll be getting Hopkins back in the first round of the playoffs. It sounds.
I don't know. I'm actually worried that they don't. I think it could be like if they made it to like the divisional championship or the conference championship or the Super Bowl.
You think his injury is that bad?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think it's like late January at the earliest.
Oh, wow. Well, that's for them, but I still think they cover 6.5 here against the Seahawks, who have not been anything to write home about this year. They dropped a 50 burger, but it was on the Detroit line. So, yeah, Cards -6.5.
I second that.
Yep. Next game, we have the 49ers going into LA to play the Rams. Both teams like highly, highly motivated. Rams for that divisional, to get that top seed, and then the 49ers to make the playoffs right here. So this should be one of the best games of the week. Oh, what do you guys think?
It
should be Trey Lance again, I would assume.
That's what it seems like, which is giving me some hesitancy. He played well, but he didn't look that good against the Texans. And we know this Rams defense has some studs on it that the Texans defense definitely doesn't.
Yeah. Is Jalen Ramsey punching his own team though last week?
Yeah, but I mean, he's still Jalen Ramsey. Like,
yeah. No, I know. I just think the 49ers, like, This is it. They actually have a back against the wall game here. Whereas the Rams, if they lose, they're fine. Obviously, it's
Still
not
playing, they're
ideal,
both
but
playing hard.
yes, but I think the 49ers are a true do or die, and the
Yeah.
Rams, they're in. So like at the end of the day, like they're fine. So I like the points here because I think it's going to be a close game, even if it is Trey Lance. Yeah. Big game, Staff, you know how Stafford does in big games, so we'll see.
Yeah. It's just tough. If this was Jimmy G starting here, it's no question 49ers for me. Just because of play style. They're one of those ground and pound, hard-nosed defense teams, and the Rams are what a lot of people like to call a basketball team. You know, a lot of superstars, you know, bombs away, OBJ down the field, Cooper Kupp and killing it. I know you mentioned PB offline that he's got some incentives.
Yep. He has 12 receptions to break the single season reception record and 136 to break Calvin Johnson's record. So he should
Very
be
doable.
Yeah, very doable for a guy like that. Definitely going to be tough, but very doable for a guy like that. When I looked at this initially, my brain went 49ers, so I'm just going to stick with my gut here. I think if the Rams win, I think this might be like a last possession type of game, which could come down to a field goal. So I'll take 4 points here and trail you, Nick.
So I am going to be on the Rams here. It's unfortunate that.
I wonder why.
No, I am a Saints fan, but this comes down to the Ram, like, so the 49ers I've been on all season. Trey Lance, I love. But going against this Rams defense, so the last time the Rams and 49ers played, the 49ers won 31-10 in San Francisco. It's very hard to beat a team twice, and especially now going into LA. Yes, it is. Man, it's close because
But I don't even, like you say, the LA thing, like home field advantage matters for the Rams, and you're probably going to get more San Fran fans than you are.
I don't know.
Rams fans, like, well,
I don't know about that. I think
they don't really have a good home field advantage.
I think the Chargers don't, but I don't know. I think the Rams actually have some
more, but
yeah. So yeah, I do like Trey Lance. So this game, just like last week when I said I think the Chiefs game goes one of two ways, where either the Chiefs just roll the Bengals because like their line gets to them, or it's a shootout and the Bengals can win or keep it close. And it being that way, this game I see going one of two ways, and it's actually interesting. I think the Rams either blow the 49ers kind of out, or the 49ers do the same to the Rams. Because
I've been playing well.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where I think if Trey Lance, if his bad version shows up, which, you know, he's had some bad games, the defense is just going to wreck it. And like, that's going to be it. The 49ers playoffs are done, but we've seen Stafford have bad games. I just think he's set up a little bit better with the defense he's playing. But I think Trey Lance has the upside to like just play at an insane level. Like I'm so high on Trey Lance, and I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in this league. It's just a very tough spot for him in his second start. He got to play the Texans, and now he has to go play the Rams and their defense in like a very important game. I don't know. I think I could see him struggling in his first spot, but he has the upside to just, I mean, some of those, that throw he made to Debo across the field. I mean, that's the type of stuff he's capable of. I mean, the dude has an absolute cannon of an arm, and he can run the ball like crazy. So yeah, it's probably like one of the toughest games for me, but I'll go ahead and take some of the veterans on the Rams side more in this important game. Final game. This game, win and you're in the playoffs. Both teams in a win or most likely out spot here for that final AFC playoff spot. The Chargers going into Las Vegas to play the Raiders. Raiders, I think, have won 3 in a row. The Chargers, I don't know, I think maybe have won 2 of their last 3. But this should be a good one. Or it'll just be Neil's. Like, who knows?
I can't imagine they would actually let that happen. Like
They
would
could.
probably be like,
You would think
we're gonna
they
find you $1
wouldn't.
million.
You would think they wouldn't, but if both teams are like, all right, well, if we play each other, we would miss, and if we just tie, we're both in.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
That's such a
I can't
low
imagine.
probability outcome, though. There's so many things that have to go break right for that to even be a scenario.
Yeah, I don't even think this game would be in question if the Chargers were fully healthy. But I think they played pretty well last week. 34 against that Broncos defense is pretty impressive. So
yeah, they were dealing with a lot of COVID stuff, though.
Yeah, but still, schematically they're a tough team to play. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. I just don't think the Raiders quite have it this year. I mean, they have had so much going on. So I'm going with the Chargers.
Yeah. Chargers are the better team here. Both teams need to win, but I think when it comes down to the final week of the season, the better team wins and the better team gets in the playoffs. And while I don't believe the NFL is rigged, I do think that there's a little more invested in getting the Chargers into the playoffs than there is the Raiders from a business side of things. So yeah, better team here. Chargers take it -3.5.
Yeah, one day a Las Vegas playoff game would be pretty fun, though.
Super Bowl in like 2 years, maybe next year. It's in
so.
a year or two.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up the slate.
Well, I'm on the Chargers as well. Is it at 3? Hang on, I want to check something real quick because I actually thought I think you might be able to get it at 3 on DraftKings. Let me confirm that. Yeah, on DraftKings you can get 3, which obviously for on the Chargers you'd take that.
It's also it's 3 on FanDuel as well. So it last whenever we started recording, it's gone down a half point.
So, which that makes sense. I could see people being on the Raiders at getting over a hook at home, but at 3, I'll take the field goal. As I just think the Chargers are a much better team. Nate Hobbs, I mean, should that DUI thing impact him now, or will that just be later, like next year?
It'll be interesting to see because I don't
really because he's like that secondary. Like, I know I was on the Raiders more against the Colts because I thought like Ellinger had a good chance to play before like the protocols changed. But like I was still on them for like somewhat of a reason that the Raiders defense is actually, the Raiders offense without Waller has kind of been a dumpster fire, but the defense, their secondary is actually fairly good. I mean, they have 2 very good corners in Hayward and Hobbs. Then they have that safety Morey. Like they have pieces, and then they have Crosby and Ngakoue. Like they have very good pieces on that defense. Yep. And so, but I just think like the Chargers are just so much better offensively that I do think Las Vegas is a tough place to play, but I'm going to be on the Chargers here in this win or die spot. I think they're a much better team. So
he finally kicked some field goals last week too. Did you guys see that?
Wait, what happened?
The Chargers finally kicked some field goals.
Oh yeah. I think they actually like it made sense when they finally did it too, because they realized, because didn't Drew Lock get injured and then it was going to be like the 3rd string QB. So they were like, well, this offense isn't going to put any points. Like we just should take every point we can get because they're going to struggle for anything. So I think that was great coaching to take the points there finally with some field goals instead of going for it.
Agreed.
But I think, yeah, situation like if you're playing the Chiefs, there's some high-powered offense. I think you always got to go for it. But that wraps up this show. So it looks like our locks are, I have the Saints. You have someone has the Bucks.
I got the Bucks.
Alex has the Bucks, and I got the Packers.
Oh yeah, the Packers at -2.5. Okay. Well, that wraps up this show. And we will break down the DFS slate tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.